Hi, we are now in the seventh Sunday of Ordinary Time from the first book of Samuel. In those days, Saul went down to the desert of Ziph with 3,000 picked men of Israel to search for David in the desert of Ziph. So David and Abishai went among Saul's soldiers by night, found Saul lying asleep within the barricade, with his spear thrust into the ground at his head, and Abner and his men sleeping around him. Abishai whispered to David, "God has delivered your enemy into your grasp this day. Let me nail him to the ground with one thrust of the spear. I will not need a second thrust." But David said to Abishai, "Do not harm him, for who can lay hands on the Lord's anointed and remain unpunished?" So David took the spear and the water jug from their place at Saul's head. They got away without anyone seeing or knowing or awakening. All remained asleep because the Lord had put them into a deep slumber. Going across to an opposite slope, David stood on a remote hilltop at a great distance from Abner, son of Ner, and the troops. He said, "Here is the king's spear. Let an attendant come over to get it. The Lord will reward each man for his justice and faithfulness. Today, though the Lord delivered you into my grasp, I would not harm the Lord's anointed." The word of the Lord. Our second reading from Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, it is written, the first man, Adam, became a living being. The last Adam, a life-giving spirit. But the spirit was not first, rather the natural, and then the spiritual. The first man was from the earth, earthly, the second man from heaven. As was the earthly one, so also are the earthly. And as is the heavenly one, so also are the heavenly. Just as we have become the image of the earthly one, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly one. The word of the Lord. Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "To you who hear I say, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. In the person who strikes you on the one cheek, offer the other one as well. From the person who takes your cloak, do not withhold even your tunic. Give to everyone who asks of you, and from the one who takes what is yours, do not demand it back. Do to others as you would have them do to you. For if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? Even sinners do the same. If you lend money to those from whom you expect repayment, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners and get back the same amount. But rather love your enemies and do good to them. Lend expecting nothing back. Then your reward will be great, and you will be children of the Most High. For he himself is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. Stop judging, and you will not be judged. Stop condemning, you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and gifts will be given to you. A good measure, packed together, shaken together, and overflowing will be poured into your lap. For the measure with which you measure will in turn be measured out to you. The Gospel of the Lord. Love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you. In short, we're told to act in the exact opposite of the way we are treated. In the first reading from Samuel, David acts completely different from the way that they wanted of the king who wanted to kill him. In Corinthians, Paul tells this early church community how Adam received life by God, but how each of us is given life by Jesus Christ. Jesus went against the thinking of his age and how we live and follow our faith. The woman caught in adultery should have been stoned to death. Jesus forgives her and sends her on her way. The mother whose son was being buried had his procession stopped. Jesus touched the casket, which made him ritually impure in his religion, raised the son back to life, and gave him back to his mother. When he spoke with a woman at the well, he broke every protocol of his day, because the woman was not accompanied by a man. Jesus is telling us that God is kind and merciful to everyone who will never judge anyone harshly or who has not judged others. He will never condemn anyone who has not condemned anyone else. He will forgive those who will forgive others. In a society as ours, which demands retribution and punishment, Jesus' teaching is outrageous and ridiculous. But it is nevertheless Jesus' teaching. It is exactly what is expected of each one of us, because it is exactly the way that Jesus lived his own life. God bless everyone. Have a good week.